Everyone, Randy here for Go Midwest Fishing, and we need to lift this Mercury 135 horsepower motor off the boat and put it onto a motor stand. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. Now these bigger Mercury motors here, there is no hook on top here to hook to lift it off. So what I did is I had to purchase this here. It's called a lifting eye. Here's what it looks like. And it's got threads on the end there, and this just screws into the top of the flywheel. So let's go do that. All right, if we look at the top of the motor, this had a plastic shroud on it, so we just have to take that shroud off. You got this little wing nuts, it'll just take it off easily. You can see the threads right in the top there. Just threads right on. Pretty simple. There, nice and tight. Now to remove a motor, there's a few other things you got to do. The motor is held on by 4 bolts. 2 on each side right here. The top ones you can get to right from inside right here. The bottom ones I'm going to have to go in and through the inside the boat there to get to the other side of that bolt. And next you got the steering here, so we'll disconnect this steering nut here and pull that rod through right here where it comes out from the steering wheel. We'll pull that out. So inside the boat here, go under this console. Kind of dark under here, but you can see right there's the 2 bottom bolts. All right, now let's look at all the other stuff that needs to be disconnected. So this whole bunch here going into the motor. Right here's your throttle cables. Go right up on the edge here. You can disconnect that. These 2 wires look like the battery wires for the starter. We got these here. These are the oil injection system. And then of course we got the fuel line. So we'll have to get in there and disconnect all those from the motor, and then we can pull it all off. Now you're like wondering, how do you get all these out of here? Well, we can just pull this piece of trim up right here. And if you can see, there's 2 screws right here, and this little section pops out. That way you can get all these cables out of there. Just got to take a screwdriver and loosen that up. There you go. See, that pops right out. Now we got, these cords are free to come out of there. First I'm going to unhook the fuel line. So this is the gas coming directly from the tank. And it goes into, it splits here a couple times. The oil reservoir is right here. Oil comes down. Here's where it mixes the gas and oil together. There she goes. Fuel line is off. I'm going to leave the, got little hose clamps on them. Screw that back on so I don't lose it. All right, now right here are the throttle cables, and I'll say I've only worked on Evinrude motors, so I'm not sure exactly how these are screwed on here. Gotta find which screw to take out. But you got a top and bottom one. Make sure you don't mix them up. Make sure when you put them back, the top one goes to the top, the bottom goes to the bottom. And they got little threads here. You can adjust them in and out so you can change your throttle position if you need to. These are kind of stiff cables. All right, this is pretty simple. Like just a pin here, no screw, but you just take this right here and flip it down. That should free these up. Now they come out of there. I gotta unhook them from this side yet. Let's start with this big screw here, see if this does it. Okay, that's just kind of a spring-loaded deal. It's got the top cable off. And it just has this, this is where you can adjust it. This thing screws in and out right there. So we don't want that to move at all because we want to keep it where it is. What I'm going to do is get a piece of tape and label this as the top one just so I don't mix them up. Straight top on there and just do this. So I know on my Evinrude when I took these off, couldn't remember which one went where, so make sure that stays there. It's just should just pop out as well, but it needs to come off of here. There it goes. Just took a little prying to get it off of there. There's the bottom. I labeled the top one, so I don't need to label the bottom one. All right, now we got the battery cable, so track this one. This is the positive, goes right up there, negative, grounded to right there. All right, let's put the nut back on here. So that just connects to the bottom of the starter, grounds it out. Put that bolt back. All right, we add some light there for you. Oh my gosh, they really got those down in a tight spot down there. There they go, there's one. And oh, there's the other one. All right, there's the cables. I don't really like how they had it in there right here. You can see they really squished the wire and it flattened out. So I really had it jammed under there. I just had a tie strap together. But all right, put those away. All right, what do we got left? Just the some oil lines and what's this? All right, this one of the lines here is the actual plugs into all the electronics here. Into this plug right here. It should just unplug. Yeah, it's coming out. There we go. You can see that. So right here is just that one wire, just some multi-faceted prong there. Goes into there. So that just pulled straight apart. Now let's see, I think it's got a couple other little connections here we got to undo. Those should just pull apart as well. Yeah, all these. So got to make note which wire goes which. They all seem to be color coded, so that should be self-explanatory. Well, while I'm at it, I'm going to see if those the oil lines come out too at the same time, so they don't give me trouble. So there are two connected tubes here that split. One goes right up to here. All right, make a note. There's nothing attached to this end right here. Just goes into this T. And the other one splits and goes down here goes on with looks like a zip tie just on the end of that one thing. All right, so again, the blue striped one just goes right up to there. They're just zip tied on again. And just the plain black one goes right down to this fitting right there. Black painted fitting, the tie strap. You here to help? All right, now we gotta disconnect the steering. All right, again, just this nut on the bottom. This will pull up and then this whole tube will slide through. And looking on this end, we just gotta undo this nut here, and then this will pull through. Now the steering cable is very stiff and you might not be able to get it out while the motor's on the boat. So what I do is as I'm lifting the motor out off the boat, I pull the motor away and then the little tube will slide out as I'm doing that. So this is the part that'll slide out. Let's go to the other side and unhook that. Let's see, the whole thing is twisting. There it goes. There we go. Just twisting up the whole cable is doing it, but you gotta hold on the inner nut while you're doing this so it'll release. Yeah, see, I can kind of pull it out a little bit, but unless you got a lot of play in it, you're not gonna be able to pull the whole thing out. So I'll do that as I take the motor off. All right, now for the fun part, we need to lift the motor off the boat. And this thing weighs over 400 pounds, so you're not going to do it by hand. You need some kind of equipment to lift it for you. I got this little cherry picker engine hoist, whatever you want to call it. Got this from Harbor Freight. Not too bad, it's $200, something like that, I don't remember. But this will work really well because once you lift it up, you can move it around. It's on little rollers and stuff. If you don't have one of them, you can always use a come-along winch. If you have some rafters above in your garage or whatever, hook one into there, the other into the motor, and then manually winch it off your boat. This is probably the best low-cost option to do. Just be careful, make sure your rafters in your garage are strong enough to support an extra 400 pounds. Another option is if you happen to have some heavy equipment, a tractor, bobcat, something like that, You can always use that to lift it off too. I've done that before. That works well. And I also have a car lift here, which I used on my other motor. Worked really well. I just lifted up the thing and pulled it off real easily. Problem is this boat, this one sits up too high and I can't get the car lift up high enough to pull this off, so I had to get one of these things. Okay, it's just starting to lift it a little bit. I'm going to start pulling those off. I'm going to get the ones down in the boat first because those are hardest to get. Then the top ones will come off pretty easily. All right, just got the nuts off. Now to just punch the bolts through. Those top bolts, as it's coming off, they just kind of bind up in there. So you either just unwind them from the backside or punch them through. All right, there's one bolt. All right, I think it's free. Jack it up a little bit and move it away. There it goes. Now we still got that steering cable in there, so as we pull it away, that should come out. What's going on with it? So might need some help to get it out of there. There it goes. Give you a shot of that. There it goes. Steering cable is free. Motor is off the boat. All right, now to move the motor onto my homemade motor stand here. I think I already see an issue. I don't think the legs of the cherry picker there are wide enough to get around the edge of this motor stand. So obviously I can't fit this far enough in to actually get that on to the stand. All right, hopefully I found a quick and easy solution there. Just taking off that front board of this. Let's see if it slides. Put the legs in between each other now. If I turn her sideways. That might actually work. I may have to move these little supports to the back side to make that work though. Okay, I just made 2 new supports for the back side, and then I think I left the other front ones so I can put those back on once the motor's back on. Give them more stability. The other problem is it's the tilt trim. Broken wire here for something. Anyway, the tilt trim is tilted out a little, so the motor wants to tilt out, so I have to pull the whole thing forward to get it on here. It's probably more of a 2-man job, but if you're doing it by yourself, you do what you have to do. All right, it's now the next day. I slept on this, thought about it a bit, did a little research. Apparently I'm not the only one having this problem with these engine hoists. And even though I have a Pittsburgh brand engine stand and hoist, they are not compatible. I have the 1,000 pound engine stand here, and you can see, you know, you can't get it close enough to hook up an engine. And it's even worse if you have like the 2-ton engine stand with the V. They just don't work. So these engine hoists with the foldable legs that go out in the V here, they're just too skinny. So even though my homemade engine stand worked great when I lifted it with the car lift there or whatever, where I didn't have those legs in the way, we had to come up with a new solution. So here's the solution I came up with. I just rebuilt my homemade engine stand here, made it wider, beefed it up a bit, and made it higher so it can go over the top and around the edges, so you can slide up right to the engine now. Now really the only issue is when I took it off, the tilt trim was pointed up slightly, so now I'm trying to get it to match there. I'm gonna have to really tilt it and pull it forward. We gotta really push it to get it to straighten out. I got some bolts started through so I can push them through when I get close to it. Away. So far so good. If you look down here, we got the tilt trim wires going up right here. I wonder if I can't just unplug these and kind of hook them to a battery and see if I can't get this thing to wind up or down. All right, I pulled apart the 2 wires. Got a battery here. I'm just going to touch one to the positive, one to the negative, see if it does anything. Woo! Hey, it works! Watch this. All right. There we go. All right, we got it off the boat onto the stand. This is the largest motor that I've removed. And you see it's very heavy, so you're gonna need something to lift it. If you do go with the engine hoist like I did, just as you can see, you're gonna need some way for your engine stand to get up to that engine hoist, unless you have a nice one with an H that you can go right in between. That was the only real problem I have there. If you can lift it with off the rafters or something, you won't have that issue. Another thing I should have done quicker is found that tilt trim leads there and got those tilted down. So if it's still connected to your boat and hooked up to a battery, try to tilt it down before you remove it, because it makes it real difficult when that's on an angle like that. So I'm going to continue on to a complete teardown rebuild of this motor. Said I've never done this before, so it's kind of an experiment for me to see if I can even do it. If you want to see the rest of the videos about this motor, it'll be at my playlist called Project Boat Mercury 135. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.